Well, the stuff is pretty controversial. We're getting one update that's
Dennis heard it.
Yes.
It'll be 20 minutes less what Dennis and Mark
20, what are you
say.
talking about?
So you take the whole time. Mark it.
You know what? Did he say state? We can make this meeting go.
Right, but if you go longer, we're not counting your time.
You said we're waiting on a phone call.
I could say, you know, I'm a lawyer politician. I could talk for 20 minutes and say nothing.
We have.
I wore my RVD jacket for the picture. I did.
Notice we.
I had to defer a little more time the other day for our morning meeting.
What?
Well,
Yeah, they look the same.
We have not defined at all the parameters of what is lunch. What constitutes lunch.
hey, don't trust Mark. Don't trust Mark with lunch promises. Mark said he was gonna buy me some Kobe steak and he bought me a Kobe beef burger or something.
Yeah.
When were we doing the photo?
Who are we missing? Oh, we're missing. Is Holly coming?
She's on her way.
Okay.
Right here.
What about Triple W? Is he coming?
Because he's not. He's doing some
Photo.
presentation.
Start off with a photo, I believe.
You gotta start the meeting before we can do that. We can't do a photo unless the meeting is officially
No, we're supposed to start. Meeting is starting. We're starting early. It's not on the agenda, so it doesn't have to be officially noticed.
Mayors.
Keep your social distance.
The social distance, that's right.
Stevens, Trustee Stevens. What is this thing?
It looks good.
It's the official CDC guidance for first responder shaving.
So it makes a good seal, right?
He's gonna star in Pulp Fiction 2.
Oh,
That's what he's doing. Pulp Fiction 2. He's starring.
If you want to hop actually on this side, that will make it good. There you go.
Yolanda, you're up here.
Yolanda will be in the middle with full month.
Hang on a second. Had this cough since I've been traveling.
Good.
I'm kidding.
Come on, Waller, 6 feet.
No.
6 feet, right?
Where am I going to go?
Right in front
Right,
of her.
yeah, right for there. Yeah, perfect. There you go. There he is. Perfect. Holly, scoot it just a hair. There you go. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay.
Uma, you're going to be on the front page of the
Yes.
meeting?
Now with the lights off.
Report.
Right, lights off.
I don't like shaving, I don't like beard. I know, you know, well, running back, but people should know.
You do have a quorum.
Everybody who's going to be on wings not here. Jennifer's not here, so she's not going to object to starting early.
It's not early, right? Oh, we got 30 seconds? Or?
Yes. Well, this says 1:30, so I think we're okay.
Well, that photo was a lot easier than I thought it was going to
Yes.
be. Usually. All right. Looks like we're ready. We'll wait for that thing. All right, so I'd like to call the meeting of the PPRTA Board of Directors, regular meeting to session today. Item 1 is a call to order and establishment of a quorum. We do have a quorum. So item 2, approval of the agenda. Has everybody reviewed or have any comments on the agenda for today?
Move approval.
So if anybody would like to move on approval, if we do not have any comments.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. Item 3, public comment for items not on the agenda. Anybody from the public like to come up and speak on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none. Item 4, approval of the minutes from February 12th, 2020 regular meeting. Hopefully everybody has reviewed the meeting minutes.
Move approval.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from February 2nd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That also passes unanimously. Item 5, Citizen Advisory Committee Monthly Report.
Can I just make a comment while he's coming up?
Yes.
So, City Councilman Williams, he is the chairman of a scholarship interview committee today. So he wanted you to know he misses everybody.
All right, thank you.
And I would say he advised council, Mr. Scorman was planning to come as an alternate.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Scorman, exercising the caution that has been told, is staying at home because he is not feeling well.
Oh, okay. Good on him.
Good choice. I'd just like to point out, wearing blue today for memory of Gannon and tragic loss we've had in our community, so we'll just point that out. So Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC, for your approval, we looked at 3 Colorado Springs contracts. Discussion, nothing major. We recommend approval of the city's 3 contracts. El Paso County had a contract for aggregate, and we recommend approval of that one as well. And then the other item that might be of interest is in your packet, the 2020 annual report to the citizens. We had discussion about that, made a few recommendations, and the staff, Rick and Bev, made some changes based on the CAC's recommendations. And so what you have in your packet for approval today, it should include all of our recommendations. So that's it for the CAC.
Any questions for the CAC? Okay, I do need a motion to accept.
So moved.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to accept the Citizen Advisory Committee Monthly Report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, that passes. Before I get to item 6, I do forgot to mention anybody in the public and all our directors, if we could remember to sign in at the front of the room, and also make sure you have a contact information. Thank you. Item 6, financial reports. Good news, Bev.
Good afternoon. So we just received the July sales and use tax of $8,478,000. So we were $1,258,000 above the monthly budget, or 17.4%. And then compared to last year, on page 2, we were $565,000, or 7.1% ahead of actual for the month of January last year. So we had a really good January. It will be interesting to see for our May meeting what March looks like, since that was kind of the beginning of the coronavirus, people being aware of it.
Right.
Anyway,
That's
so
from the economic.
yeah, from the economic standpoint, as far as the stocks and so on. But does anybody have any questions?
Any questions on the financial reports? I'm seeing none.
Thank you.
Item 7, 2020 Capital Maintenance and Public Transportation Contracts, City of Colorado Springs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike Chavez, City Engineering. I think the economy will be buoyed by the sale of toilet paper. It's crazy. Okay, we have 2 contracts for you to approve, and the third one is just an informational item. So the first item is a design contract change order for AECom to go into the preliminary design phase of the Black Forest widening. We had a public meeting a couple of weeks ago. It was well attended, went pretty well. There was good input, and there's some concerns, and there's a lot of also urgency by other people who want us to start building now. So that was a good meeting, and we'll be working on the design of that here. Next item is a change order to Kiewit for the pedestrian bridge by the Olympic Museum. There's some $829,000 of RTA money being used, and basically we've got an allocation that's been approved, and we're just moving money into the construction contract for bridge installation items. And then the other money is coming from the URA funds. And those two are for approval. And then the third one is informational. It's a change order for construction of Wildcat on the Sierra Madre project, and there's no RTA funds on that. That's CSU and some URA bonds funds too.
Any questions for the Colorado Springs contracts? Seeing none, does anybody want to make a motion on item 7A?
I move approval.
So I have a motion and a second to approve item 7A. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 7, great job. Item 7B, El Paso County.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Board of Directors, Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County, County Engineer. This month we have one item for your consideration. It's a materials contract with Schmidt Construction Company, and it's for cover coat aggregate materials, which is a very elegant way to say rock. So it's material for our chip seal program, and this is material that our folks use, our internal workers use to put on the roads together with oil, and then as a cover for maintenance for paved roadways. So we have $400,000 for this year, and typically we do about 40 to 50 miles of chip seal overlay to extend the life of our pavement. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, would anybody like to approve item 7B?
Move approval.
I have a motion and a second to approve item 7B. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that passes.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Item 8, other reports, City of Colorado Springs Transit Services monthly update. Do we have an update today? Uh-oh. Do we have any other representation from Colorado Springs that could speak on that? Or would like to?
He's coming in.
Oh, okay.
You're up.
He's coming right up. There he is.
You're going too fast.
I apologize for being too efficient.
I'm glad I made it in time.
I apologize. I do have a ribbon cutting after this meeting, so I apologize if I'm going too fast.
Not going too fast.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Craig Blewett, Transit Services Manager and Director of Mountain Metro Transit. We have our monthly report in your packet. I would like to go over the report today. It's a little different than you've seen. We've done what we think is an upgrade to our report. And the first page looks a lot like the same, except that we did add a row in that first table of cumulative annual change. So we'll be tracking that each month in terms of where we are ridership for the year compared to the previous year. And the second page, there are some differences. So, one of the things we've always had to kind of normalize for is the different number of weekdays we have in a month versus Saturdays versus Sundays. And we do have different ridership characteristics on those different days. And so we've developed an average weekday fixed route ridership, and also for the other categories of ridership. And so in this table, it goes back 2 months. So we're reporting on January 2020. We go back to December 2019, November of 2019. So hopefully that it just describes the change in ridership just a little bit better. Again, normalizing for the different number of days in a month from year to year. Same thing with Metro Mobility. And by the way, so we were up 6.7% in fixed route ridership for January 2020 compared to 2019 January. Metro Mobility, there we had an increase of about almost 5.8% compared to the January of the previous year. And again, on page 3, we've broken that also into average weekday trips, again, to kind of try to normalize that. And also for Metro Mobility, we've broken out what we provide as our ADA service for Metro Mobility and then our taxi option, taxi choice. And so if you compare in previous years, previous reports, we combined taxi and ADA as one bar. We've now broken that out, and again, we think that's more useful information to everybody. And also just taxi ridership in general, and that does, I think I described in previous months, the decrease we've seen in metro mobility is mostly due to a decrease in choice taxi rides, and this really illustrates that point. Van pool, the same thing. We're down 19% compared to January of last year, but we have had a bump up compared to November and December, so that's going in the right direction there. And then finally, we do have a report on the North Nevada Avenue Transit Connectivity Study, and that study is progressing. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I know you're on a tight time frame, but just quickly mention.
We're not. We're not.
But I do want to mention that we are taking measures to address coronavirus and the pandemic issue that's going on. So we've had a continuity of operations plan in place forever, but we are fine-tuning it based on what we're seeing with the pandemic. And in general, we have three concerns. One is concern for our office workers, and that's pretty much being addressed by the City of Colorado Springs policies, human resources, and so forth in terms of protections we can take and to hopefully not spread the virus. Our second concern has to do with our drivers. If our drivers are getting sick and they can't report to work, it can start impacting our ability to provide services. So we have provided, we are fine-tuning. We've started to develop plans for if we have a shortage of, say, 15 drivers, 25 drivers, 30 drivers, what are we going to do? And in general, what we will do first would be for fixed route service would be reduce frequency rather than coverage, but at some point it would impact coverage. On metro mobility rides, that's a little bit different, and what we're likely to do there is prioritize by trip purpose to make sure our medical trips are being taken care of, dialysis trips and those kinds of things. But we are preparing plans for that. And our third area of concern is to the riding public, and in terms of both their personal health and also spreading the virus. And so we are using hospital-grade sanitizers, disinfectants, every night on our vehicles with a focus on the high-touch areas. We are ensuring also, making sure wipe down very well the driver area. Again, we need drivers to provide our service. And our facilities, we're making as much sanitizer available as we can. It's hard to get, as you may know, but we're doing the best we can with that, and also doing a lot of communications with our riders. We're going to be putting out a letter today to all of our riders in terms of what we're doing, and so they know what protections we have in place. All of the public, as you know, needs to be on high alert and should be practicing safe practices in terms of washing hands and all the things that you've heard, and social distance and that kind of thing. But I do want to give you the assurance that we're on it. We are part of the regional effort, the county and city's emergency management system. There's a phone call at 2 o'clock that Wendy back at the office is going to be on, and there's another meeting on Friday on that. So we're fully engaged. It's something we want to make sure we're doing the best thing we can for the public and the service that we provide. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Greg. Thanks for your presentation. One thing I wanted to ask her about the audio. Every time I go to the transit terminal, I'm like, are you my bus? Are you my mom? I'm not hearing the numbers, so it causes me to have to ask everybody around me if it's my bus number. So is that still implemented where we can hear what the number of the bus?
I believe so, and we particularly do that at locations where we have more than one bus service. So the downtown terminal, I believe it was, I'll have to check in terms of what our current policy is.
I'll just say in the last few months, I haven't heard it once.
Sure.
So,
but there's always a driver, right? And so that helps. But we do want to do the audio. I believe it's supposed to be in place at the downtown terminal. We also have it in place at bus stops that serve more than one route, so that folks are getting on the correct bus.
Yeah, I'm just more concerned with the terminal because there's like 8 buses there at one time, and I'm walking up and down the row to find out. And I'm feeling I don't want to impose on other passengers that are there. And what I am doing, though, I'm saying, hey, what bus number is this?
Sure.
And so I want to make sure that that audio is in place.
Sure.
Also, I have to tell you, every time I buckle in Metro Mobility, I'm like, how many hands have touched this? So I kind of freak out. So I want to make sure the seat belts and where we latch in are part of the cleansing process.
They are, but I need to say, we just do that every night. We wipe out when we have some procedures as well for the drivers to wipe when they can. The best practice would be to wear gloves, seriously.
Okay.
Whenever you're in a public place, because my understanding is the virus is live for 2 hours, anything that anyone touches. So I'm touching the podium right now. When I go back to the office, I'm going to go wash my hands.
Oh, you're not going to go to this bathroom and wash your hands?
I might do that too because there's a steering wheel in between.
Yeah. There's a lot. I was just thinking about it. All the things that I touch on the way to work.
Sure.
And it was the what is it? Safety belt, whatever.
Right.
I was like,
yes.
oh my God, a lot of people use that. It's not like when you have your own car and you're the only person that's in that driver's seat. But,
right.
And I'm thinking about the taxis too. I've been wanting to talk about that because I can see why taxi rides are down. And they're so vital. I think that they really help getting from one place to another much more efficiently at times. And but they have such a high turnover, and there's a lot of inefficiencies that are happening there. So I'll be talking with you about that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's it for me.
Yes. I keep going to put Councilmember Geislinger.
Yes, sir. I've looked at the report, and there's apparently a very obvious dip in December. I'm assuming that relates to the weather events that we had in December. Is that the explanation, or is there something else?
Well, we have seasonal variation in general, and you'll see in the chart that December tends to be one of the lowest months, the lowest month, I believe, of the year.
Okay.
So there's some seasonal because of the holidays and people working less and so forth. But yeah, we did have a closure or two in December as well. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
I've got one question. So on the North Nevada Avenue, did they have a meeting already in that area?
Yeah, we had a public meeting.
Public meeting.
Yes,
and so my question was, I think I saw some stuff in the newspaper. So would the feedback be more that if residents had issues, it was the amount of traffic going through there on buses, or the fact that I believe the intention was to go through the neighborhood but not stop to pick people up? Was there any highlight from that?
Well, we are responding to the comments we've received. I would say that that it is not true. It is going to stop in their neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
But there may be a need for additional neighborhood service in addition to bus rapid transit or streetcar. But they would have stops in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's good clarification, because from the article, it kind of sounded, on some of the feedback from residents, that it sounded like it was just going to go straight through, and that was one of their concerns.
Right, and that's one of the things we're working on now, is looking at which street we would be on, what the profile of that street would look like, and also start getting into stop locations so folks know.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Items 8B, City of Colorado Springs Monthly Change Order and Property Acquisition Report. Looks like Mr. Chavez is coming back up.
This is an informational item. Is there any questions on any of the items?
Any questions? Seeing none. Item 8C, El Paso County Monthly Change Order and Property Acquisition Report.
Ours is informational as well. Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none. 8D, quarterly reports from, quarterly reports from member governments.
This is also an information item. I would be glad to tackle any questions you might have or lateral them to the member governments.
Any questions?
Football analogies in one sentence.
Seeing none. Item 9, do we have any executive session requirements or comments regarding what?
No.
Okay, nothing. Okay. Item 10, administrative actions and reports. 10A, legislative report.
As the board is aware, last month you looked at House Bill 20-1151. It's attached in your packet. The board approved an amendment request to the sponsor, House Member Representative Matt Gray. He has agreed to that amendment, and in fact, he last night he sent me an email along with 30 other people, an email indicating that at today's House Transportation and Local Government hearing that started 20 minutes ago, it unfortunately exactly overlaps with the PPRTA board meeting, he's going to be proposing the amendment that the PPRTA board requested, along with 2 other amendments. And let me take a few seconds now to hand out that email to the board members, and then I'll come back to the podium. So while you're skimming the front cover memo, I'll get you one in a little bit. The board's amendment is on the last 2 pages, and particularly the last paragraph at the bottom. And the key phrase that the board requested was that a transportation planning organization like PPACG may not exercise any of the powers of an RTA, of an authority, within the boundaries of an existing authority without the prior approval of the board of the existing authority, without a 2/3 vote of the directors of the existing authority board. So that was the no hostile takeover paragraph that Jennifer Ivey prepared last month, that the board authorized that we forward on to Representative Matt Gray. That legislative committee is meeting as we speak. We had slim hope to receive a call from Jennifer Ivey, who's there, to be available to explain and defend the PPRTA board's amendment in case other legislators quizzed Representative Gray about the amendment that he was offering on our behalf. So she was, if there was any development, she was going to step outside or wait to the end of the committee meeting and call Ed Eisenagel, one of her partners in the law firm, and he's a senior partner, emeritus. He was the PPRTA's attorney for the first 10 or 12 years of the PPRTA before Jennifer was the rep from that firm to the PPRTA board. But she hasn't called, so there's no need for an executive session, and there's really nothing further to talk about. I think the contingency plan is when she learns something out of that committee hearing, she'll report in, and we'll report to the chair and the vice chair, and they can decide on either if our amendment held up, then we're probably good. If the amendment didn't hold up, then we may need to, the board chair and vice chair might need to call a special meeting of the PPRTA board before the April 8 meeting. So that's the status quo as we know it. And you have all the information I have.
Any questions? No questions regarding the update. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Maybe she'll call us in the next couple of minutes. But
Yeah.
okay, item 10B, draft 2020 annual report to the citizens.
The annual report's in your packet. It is about 50% longer than in past years, but we didn't feel we should trim anything out. We have plenty of budget room to do a 44-pager instead of a 28-pager. So we included everything that was submitted from our member governments. We were hoping for a drone elevated shot of West Colorado, but we just have drone shots of Pikes Peak Avenue and Academy over Cottonwood Creek, and we just have an at-grade shot of, Jess, could you scroll up an inch there, please? Thank you. So just West Colorado is at-grade shot, so just didn't exist, and nobody had access to a drone to take a shot, so that's where we are. So the only, if the board is okay with the report as it is, the only thing we have left to do is to drop in the picture that was just taken 28 minutes ago, and then we're good. If you're ready for us to send it to the printer, the usual procedures to print about 2,600. I take them around to city halls and Centennial Hall and the library. I take them to the library districts and chambers of commerce and other places, and of course they're on the website.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Going back, I see that the legislative report is listed as an approval. Did we have to approve that since we made no?
It was a contingency in case there was something. I would, Ed, I'll defer to you. Can they not do an approval when there was no action?
Yes.
Okay. And so, but we do need to approve moving forward with the
Yes.
report, annual report.
Yes.
Okay. So if there's no questions, may I get a motion to approve the draft 2020 annual report to the citizens?
Move to approve. Great job.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that passes with the new photo being dropped in. Item 11, PPRTA member announcements. Any announcements from our member?
It's really too bad we had to wait 12 minutes for Mark to come back.
When the Gazette calls, you take it.
Any other member organizations? I just want to thank everybody for the great work. And again, a reminder to everybody to remember to sign in next month. Let's try to do that, catching it at the front. Usually we pass it around here, but I think we need to do a little better job of catching that as we walk in. I always forget myself, but let's do a good job of that. So anything else? Because it looks like that's about it. All right, then item 12, we are adjourned.
Well done.
Contract.